Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy is Star Wars' first real venture into the multiverse. The World Between Worlds has only given us a taste, but Rebuild the Galaxy gave us a full-course meal. Though to continue with the food analogy, we didn't get the dessert, as the special does not use the multiverse to its fullest extent. Because of this being a LEGO special, things have to stay relatively comedic, so all the new things in the new universe are as batshit crazy as possible, instead of being engaging what-if scenarios. This isn't all bad by any means though, because since the special focuses on more than just multiverse stuff, it can focus on telling an actual good story, which resembles the traditional story of Luke. It essentially focuses on a guy named Sig and his brother Dev, who run a bantha farm after the Rise of Skywalker. We know this since Sig loves telling everyone the story of the galaxy, and he knows everything including Rise of Skywalker. Dev sees how obsessed he is with the story of others, so he suggests that the two of them go off and make their own story instead, wanting off his planet along with Sig's crush Yessi. This is essentially mirroring Luke wanting off Tatooine. Dev then finds out that Sig can actually use the Force, so he tells Sig to make his life more exciting with it, but Sig was hesitant, not wanting to overuse the Force, which is a trait we don't see often in Star Wars. Most people would love to use it, but just can't, as they need to train, whereas Sig is content without overusing it. Despite this, he still agrees to go with Dev to have some adventures, and it's then that they stumble upon a Jedi temple with something called Cornerstone. How this temple had stayed undiscovered for so long, I have no clue. Anyways, the more interesting thing about it is the Cornerstone, which has the ability to form an entirely new galaxy, destroying the old one in the process. I would assume this means the Cornerstone isn't at all connected to the World Between Worlds, since the World Between Worlds couldn't really create timelines or galaxies, just lets you peer into them. That doesn't really matter though, since we get to actually see this newly created galaxy, as opposed to the World Between Worlds only blueballing us. In this new galaxy, it's still Rebels vs. the Empire, but now the Empire is led by Dev, now known as Darth Devastator. Get it? Dev? Devastator? Haha. Given how unserious Palpatine always is in LEGO form, I was pleasantly surprised to see that Dev was actually mildly intimidating here. His goal was to find the Cornerstone and reforge the galaxy, going mad because his life had been miserable, so he wanted change. So, the overall plot of the miniseries focuses on Sig and a Jedi named Bob, who happened to be in the temple when this new galaxy was created, teaming up to stop Dev and restore the main galaxy, teaming up with the Rebellion and several other Jedi from the new galaxy as well. Yes, that's right, I said several other Jedi. Unlike the main galaxy, there's an abundance of Jedi and an abundance of Sith, who are part of the Empire. Even funnier, a lot of evil people from the main galaxy are the Jedi, whereas more righteous people are the Sith. The Jedi include Palpatine, Vader, who's white now. Whoa, Disney, is that kind of racist or what? Jabba, Cad Bane, and I believe Dooku. Though, he doesn't have speaking lines, which is a shame, because it would have been interesting to see if his past was altered. Was he a Jedi from the get-go, or did he start out as a Sith first? Sith include Rose Tico. I mean, she may as well have been evil in the main galaxy anyways, since she almost got everyone blown to threads because of her simping for Finn. Nubs from Young Jedi Adventures, cool to see that show get recognition. Kit Fisto, and Jar Jar, of course. Though, I have to say, I'm saddened by his lack of screen time. They hyped him up in the trailers, making us think he was going to be of Palpatine-level importance to this new Empire, only for him to barely appear. He's not even Dev's second-in-command, as that position goes to Darth Rey. Yeah, that's right. Wait. Hold on. If Rey was able to see a vision of this in The Rise of Skywalker, then does that mean she's capable of seeing into other universes as well? Damn, and I thought she couldn't get any more overpowered. As for the other changes in this new galaxy, there are quite a few interesting ones. The Ewoks are now bounty hunters, the Empire now uses X-Wings, as well as clone troopers as opposed to stormtroopers. The clone troopers still act like stormtroopers though, so it's extremely odd to see them act so brainless, especially after Bad Batch, where the clones have felt more humanized than ever. Oh yeah, also, the clones in this universe weren't cloned from Jango, but rather Admiral Akbar. There's also a talking Gonk droid for the first time, clear merch opportunity for Disney there. You can now have your own talking droid, only for $10,000. Several other characters have also either changed sides, or been promoted or demoted. For example, C-3PO as well as the Millennium Falcon, now known as the Dark Falcon, work for the Empire. Darth Maul is a rebel ally, Grievous is a full-on member, as is Yoda. This is what I mean by a demotion. Bro went from strongest Jedi ever to a random-ass rebel soldier. Leia, on the other hand, got promoted, already being the general of the rebellion, as Mon Mothma seemingly does not exist. As for Han and Leia were not together, since Leia was with Greedo instead. This leads to a funny reference to the classic who shot first question, where Han actually admits that Greedo shot first, though in the sense that he shot his shot with Leia before Han did. Han was so distraught at losing Leia that he decided to side with the Empire. This was an actually meaningful alternative scenario, which I could appreciate in contrast to all the nonsensical goofs and gaffes. Anyways, as the special goes on, Luke also had a full-on story, and even an arc of some kind. He started off extremely similar to his Last Jedi counterpart, as he was just an old dude, although he was far from a nobody like in The Last Jedi, as he was a famous pod racer, along with Greedo. Damn, Greedo really got an awesome deal in this galaxy. He went from dying to being with the leader of the rebellion, and also popular in his own right. Anyways, back to Luke. His arc starts with him declining when Bob and Sig get the idea to ask him for help, since Luke was such a notorious hero in the main galaxy. This also draws parallels to The Last Jedi, but Luke actually has a pretty sound reason to refuse here though, as he doesn't want his galaxy to be destroyed. This was way deeper than I thought a LEGO Star Wars special could go. He's basically of the belief that Sig restoring the main galaxy would be bad, since it would destroy his. This brings up a great ethical question of if it was moral for Sig to obliterate this galaxy just to fix his own. The final part of the special involves Bob beginning to train Sig to improve his force powers, and eventually, Bob reveals that he was actually from a different galaxy, where all the LEGO people were classic yellow just like him, and there was a sect of Jedi known as the Force Builders that he was a part of that were exclusively focused on creation, and a sect of Sith called Sith Breakers that were focused on destroying anything those Jedi would create. This eventually led to Jedi Bob's galaxy being entirely decimated, as he chose to reform the galaxy using the Cornerstone, so the Sith Breakers wouldn't be a threat, and as a result, that was how this galaxy was created. So essentially, Jedi Bob was responsible for everything that happened in Star Wars up until this point, from the Acolyte to the fucking Rise of Skywalker. While Sig was training, he experienced a vision very similar to Luke's, where he sees himself on Dagobah, and joining up with the evil, not Palpatine this time, but Darth Dev. During the final battle, in which Luke, just like in Last Jedi, decides to help after all, using his fortune as a pod racer to pay off the bounty hunter, Ewoks, as well as several Imperials including C-3PO, Sig does get the opportunity to join Dev. Since Dev wanted him due to his force powers, believing that they would make the galaxy forging process even simpler when combined with the Cornerstone. Darth Rey must not have been very sensitive in this galaxy then, as otherwise, Dev could have just used her force abilities, but no, he just throws her away and tries to kill her. Unfortunately, she escaped with Rose though, sparing both of their lives. Dev would regret scaring Rey away though, as Sig refused to join, just as Luke refused to join Palpatine, and with the help of the talking Gonk droid sacrificing himself, and Bob's lightsaber, Sig chooses to stop Dave by destroying the Cornerstone, coming to the conclusion that it wasn't right to cause any more destruction to any galaxy, thereby making this galaxy permanent, as the Cornerstone couldn't be used anymore. This ultimately means that this special isn't canon whatsoever, since the main Star Wars galaxy was completely non-existent now, and that obviously wasn't the case in the canon timeline. Despite it not being canon though, it was still a worthy watch, since it ended up having a lot of nice similarities, as well as differences to the original story. Even if it's not canon in the traditional sense, though, it could still start up its own timeline, which would be extremely interesting. Star Wars already has infinite possibilities with one galaxy, so imagine what you could do with multiple. Thankfully, there does seem to be more in store for this galaxy, since the ending features Rey and Rose having taken charge of the Empire and hiring a new bounty hunter known as the Landolorian. Lando, in Mandalorian armor, having an evil Grogu as his partner. An evil Rey and Grogu interacting is definitely something I'd like to see. But yeah, that's basically it for Rebuild the Galaxy. All in all, I think it being a miniseries really helped the pacing, and due to it telling an actual story beyond the jokes, I can safely say that it's the best of the Disney Plus LEGO Star Wars content, and I hope to see the writers, Dan Hernandez and Benji Samit, get to tackle something canon as well. Oh yeah, how could I forget the biggest change in the new galaxy? The salt on Crate from The Last Jedi was now pepper.